Well, I'm wrapping up the cleaning out and packing up of Aunt Loretta's West Side Avenue, Jersey City apartment in the Marion section of Jersey City. After living here 48 years, and as you know, she's in a nursing home now, Peace Care St. Joseph's, getting wonderful care. And after having lived here with her for the last 10 months or so, I'm now moving out and moving back to Lyndhurst. I tried to give it a go here, but had to move back to Lyndhurst. I came across two gems while I was packing up and cleaning out Aunt Loretta's apartment. And the first thing is I found my maternal grandfather, Francesco Giovanni Cavallo, his umbrella. Now, Aunt Teresa and Aunt Loretta, who have lived here forever, and Aunt Loretta and Aunt Teresa have lived in this particular apartment for 48 years, and in 1041 West Side Avenue, 3 doors down, for decades before that, and then other various apartments around the Marion section of Jersey City for the last 95 years with their family. Anyway, they've kept this umbrella. It belonged to their father, my grandfather, Francesco Cavallo. And they kept this all these years. Francesco died, I think it was 1959. And he left behind this umbrella. And the reason it's unique and the reason they kept it is because it has on it, the handle, a finger. As you can see, the ridges of a finger and a fingernail. So when you hold the umbrella, your finger goes on top of the fingerprint on the umbrella. Now, when I was a little kid, I always saw this hanging up in the apartment all the time since I was born. So through the 1960s, to the 1970s, I used to see this umbrella and I was fascinated with it. Fascinated because of that finger on the handle. And I knew it was my grandfather's. And I was born 2 years after my grandfather passed away. So I never met him. But I felt very close to him because of this umbrella. As a kid, I used to love to look and stare at this umbrella and think of my grandfather. And this was always hanging up with the rest of the umbrellas in their doorway forever. Certainly since the 1950s when he used this, at least. Maybe it could even be the 1940s. So anyway, I'm going to keep this keepsake. It still reminds me of my grandfather, and I'm going to keep it. It's just unique. It's very unique, and they don't make umbrellas like this anymore, by the way. This is serious wood, and this is this is what it looks like. It's a complete umbrella with the finger on the edge. And I also came across my grandfather's, this is my mother's father, my Aunt Teresa and Aunt Loretta's father, his certificate of service to the Lackawanna Railroad. I told you that he was a laborer, a hard-working laborer on the Lackawanna Railroad for years and years and years. Well, I found his official retirement certificate, and I want to read it and show it to you. This says here, upon his retirement, he received this from the railroad. Certificate of service presented to Francesco Giovanni Cavallo by the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western Railroad Company upon the occasion of his retirement after 26 years of faithful and conscientious service, dated December 31st, 1954. So that's when he retired. December 31st, 1954. It's signed by the president of the Delaware, Lackawanna, Western Railroad Company. I can't read his hand signature. But this is what it looks like. This is my grandfather's certificate of retirement from the Lackawanna Railroad. I told you that he used to be a laborer on the railroad. He used to literally go out and drive the spikes to the tracks. He used to clean the tracks off from ice in the wintertime. Aunt Loretta used to tell me all kinds of stories about him coming home all hours of the night and sometimes not coming home for days because he had to scrape the ice off of the tracks. They didn't have fancy machinery back then. It was my grandfather with a pickaxe and other tools to manually clean the tracks and get them prepared for service. So that's his certificate of service upon his retirement. And I'm keeping this too. So 2 gems from my grandfather's years, Francesco Giovanni Cavallo. And this is the fun part of packing up and cleaning out the apartment, finding gems like this. So I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.